Hello, and welcome back to the Garden of Grace devotion. My name is Pastor Katie, and I'm one of the pastors at Trinity Lutheran Church in Lilburn, Georgia. This coming Sunday, one of our lectionary passages from the week for the week comes to us out of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verses 15 through 20 read, "See, I have set before you today life and prosperity, death and adversity. If you obey the commands of the Lord your God that I am commanding you today, by loving the Lord your God, walking in his ways, and observing his commandments, decrees, and ordinances, then you shall live and become numerous. And the Lord your God will bless you in the land that you are entering to possess. But if your heart turns away and you do not hear, but are led astray to bow down to other gods and serve them, I declare to you today that you shall perish. You shall not live long in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to enter and to possess. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Choose life so that you and your descendants may live, loving the Lord your God, obeying God, and holding fast to him, for that means life to you and length of days, so that you may live in the land that the Lord swore to give your ancestors to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob." Those words, choose life that you might live. Choose life. So many times over and over each day, we're given the opportunities to choose life or death. In the passage, it talks to us about choosing life, meaning to serve God. Choosing life means to love the Lord your God, to walk in God's ways, following the commandments. And in the New Testament, we read that Jesus says the two most important commandments are loving God and one another. These are ways to choose life over and over again. As humans, though, we struggle and we get stuck. And as I've been thinking about this theme of choosing life or choosing death, and how different decisions I make each day affect that, the image that has come to mind for me is actually of this little robot vacuum. So this is our little iRobot. And about a year ago, I found this little thing at a yard sale. I was very excited. We don't have any carpeting, so our flooring collects dust, and we have a couple dogs. So I was very excited when I discovered this little robot vacuum. I've been looking for one for a long time, and here it was. So I brought it home and let it roam around and pick up dirt. Over the past couple of months, I actually figured out how to connect it to the internet. And so I can see what the little robot thing is doing. It is not at all uncommon for me to get a message on my cell phone that this little robot vacuum is stuck. And more often than not, this little robot vacuum gets stuck in the same place over and over and over. It's zooming along and vacuuming up dirt, and then it gets stuck here, right where I'm sitting. There's a wall next to me that then sort of folds into where these cabinets are, and there's this nook, this little nook that this little robot vacuum just has to go for some reason over and over, and then it can't get out. Sometime in the last few days, I imagine I had this passage about choosing life in my mind. And I found this little thing stuck in the same place. And I thought, why do you choose this, little vacuum robot? Why do you choose to get stuck in this same little place over and over and over. And then I got to thinking about myself. And I got to thinking about how often I choose to do things that are not choosing life. Anytime we put in the small catechism, when Luther talks about the first commandment and what does this mean, that we should have no gods before God, Luther explains we are to love and to fear God so that we don't put anyone or anything ahead of God. And anytime I do that in my life, which is so easy to do, anytime I look for ultimate security or for what I need in a place besides being grounded in God or putting God first, I can get stuck. And I can get stuck over and over and over again in the same little nook. I'm thankful, though, that we serve a God with abundant grace who is over and over again willing to help us get unstuck. As I've thought about this little robot and Wi-Fi and the messages that I get about how it's stuck, or the other day I got a message that I was in a meeting with Pastor Scott and John Parson, and I got a message that said Roomba is stuck near a cliff. What's happened? Well, Roomba was stuck near the edge of our sunken living room. Like we have a little stair step down, and Roomba was stuck there. So Roomba needed help. So I get these messages that Roomba is stuck. That Roomba is stuck near a cliff, or that Roomba is stuck right here under these cabinets. And then I know that I then need to come and help this little robot. As I reflect on all of this, I'm reminded of the goodness of God. The goodness of God who over and over again invites us to choose life that we might live fully. And this wonderful, wonderful God who is always there when we get ourselves stuck. Sometimes we can't get unstuck right away, but we serve this God who will sit with us in the kitchen floor or wherever it may be where we're stuck, and who will love us and help us try to find a way out. So I've learned a lot from this little robot vacuum recently and through this passage in Deuteronomy. I invite you to reflect in the coming days on what it looks like for you to choose life and in what ways maybe you choose death in small decisions. Part of being able to change something, to shift a behavior, is recognizing it. So I pray that God will help each of us to see areas where we may not be choosing life and we don't realize it. I pray God will lead and guide us and help us to get unstuck, especially when it's in the same place over and over again. Thank you for joining me today. I pray God's peace to you today and always. May the Lord lead and guide us as we seek to choose life in God each day. Amen.